Okay, so I understand that maybe some students was absent from the time or the dates that I'm doing the debriefing on chapter 12. So in this case, I will try to go through, maybe I try to quickly debrief the homework of chapter 12, so you can maybe serve it as a revisions or a recap for you. So for chapter 12, the homework, the question number 1, you will see that the photograph below shows 4 plant structure. So, and we can see that both W and also um, Z, in fact, it would be the fruit of the plant. It would be the fruits of the plant. So in this case, while X and Y, in fact, they are the stem tubers. So in this case, we will see that, okay, both X and Y will not undergo the, or it is not formed from the sexual reproduction. Rather, it is formed from the asexual reproductions, okay? But not from the sexual reproduction. So we can see that as W and also Z, in fact, they are the part that is, they are a type of fruit. So in fact, they are mainly come from or develop from the flowers. So how can the flowers will turn into the fruit? Then definitely would be the enlargement of the ovary under the stigma. So in this case, we can see that, okay, um, uh, so how come, okay, the fruit can be developed? It is basically because of the fertilizations of both the male gamete and also the female gamete, and this forms the seed. Okay, once the seed is formed, and at the same time, the fruit will be also developed. So therefore, the answer here would be C. And next, for question number 2 and 4, we can see that it refers to the structure of the flower. And we can see that, in fact, we're talking about the meiosis. Meiosis meaning that we're trying to produce the gamete. Okay, we are trying to produce the gamete. So in this case, we can see that as we are trying to produce the gamete, then where will be the part that produce the gamete? Then definitely will be the part where it is the part that responsible for the sexual reproductions. And in this case, both anther and also the ovules, okay, here would be the part that contained the gametes, okay, and they will undergo or they will be produced by the meiosis, okay, the meiotic cell divisions. So therefore, the answer would be C again. So next, okay, which of the following combinations about the pollinations of this flower is correct? So we can see that, in fact, inside this would be a flowers, and the flowers would be each indicating that, in fact, the anther is somehow lower or a lot shorter than the stigma. So in this case, we can interpret that, in fact, it would be somehow a type of insect pollinations. But at the same time, we can see the petals, okay, the petals here. Okay, so in fact, the petals, okay, it indicates that, okay, this part, the petals, okay, the yellow part, the petals, in fact, it is enclosed or it's surround the, or it enclosed the stigma and also the anther. So in this case, we will see that, in fact, this would be also an evidence indicating that it is a type of insect pollinations. So by looking at the reason, then A would be a more suitable combinations or a more suitable explanation for the explanation on why it is an insect pollinations for these flowers. So next, okay, the zygote. Okay, so we can see that, in fact, where would be the part that the zygote form? The zygote, in fact, it referring to the part that the fertilizations of the male gamete and also the female gamete. So in this case, the part where the male gamete and also the female gamete mixed together will be the part where the ovule is, okay, the ovule is. So in this case, by looking at it, in fact, we will notice that, in fact, only the part, okay, structure C would be the ovules. And in this case, in fact, it would be the part, or it would be the site where the male gamete of the flowers, okay, or of the plant will meet with the female gamete of the plant. So in this case, it would be, the answer should be C. Next, for question number 5, which of the following structure in plants are involved in seed formations? So the seed formations, so meaning that it may be help in the fertilizations of both male gamete and also the female gamete. And apart from that, it will also help the it will also help the maybe support of the seed formed, okay, throughout the development of the fruit. So this would be mainly, okay, of two parts, which is both 3 and 4, which is the stigma and also the carpel, okay, which is these two parts will be responsible or involved in the seed formations. So which of the following combinations is incorrect? So we're talking about the floral part, meaning that the part that included in the flowers, while on the other hand, okay, the phase after the fertilizations. So we can see that, okay, some part maybe disappear, okay, no longer appear after the fertilizations, because it may be fall off, or it may be removed by the plant, okay, but some will be stayed behind and develop into some part of the fruit. So we can see that, okay, one of it would be the ovary wall. In fact, the ovary wall will develop into the fruit wall. Okay, so it will develop into the fruit wall. So in this case, okay, we will notice that, in fact, when we're talking about it is the incorrect one. That means we need to find out the incorrect answer. So therefore, as A, it is a correct answer. So in this case, A would not be an answer, while B would be the ovule. And in fact, ovule will somehow, it will turn into, no longer it would be the fruit, rather it would be the seed. So in this case, the answer would not be correct. So therefore, the answer would be B. And then next, for the integument, in fact, it would develop into the seed coat. And while the zygote, in fact, it would develop into the embryo of the fruit, the seed, okay? So in this case, we can see that, okay, the other both C and D will be also correct, okay, for the combinations. Next, which of the following plants parts are genetically identical? So we need to find out, okay, where the part that is not the gamete, but which is containing the somatic cell or the body part of the plant. So in this case, by looking at these answer for the peas, in fact, it is the seed, right? It is a type of seed. And for the same, the pear pod, in fact, it is the fruit of the plant. And in this case, it would be somehow a type of somatic cell, while the P, in fact, it would be the gametes that recombine, or it is the seed of the plant. So the seed, in fact, it contains different genetic materials comparing to the somatic cells of the plant. So therefore, they are not having the same. Genetical. Okay, they do not have the same genetical, or they are genetically unidentical. Next, okay, the flesh and also the seed coats of the same fruit. So by looking at it, okay, the seed coat, in fact, it is made by the integument, which is the one part of the plant. So in this case, in fact, it is a part that is somehow we will consider it is the somatic cell, which is some somatic cell before the development of the fruit. So in this case, the seed coat would be genetically identical with the flesh of the plants, okay, the fruits, okay, because there are some fleshy tissues, which is also a type of somatic cell. Both of them are the somatic cell. So therefore, the answer would be B. And next, okay, the diagram below shows the position of the plant PQRS, so and the distribution of their offspring respectively. So we can see that that indicates the direction of wind. So we can see that the wind, okay, it blow, okay. So in this case, it will try to, if the plant is having the wind pollinations, then in this case, or the method of the pollination would be by the wind pollination. Then in this case, the seed will, the most of the pollen grain would follow the direction of the wind. So therefore, it will colonize on the right-hand side of the plant Q. So therefore, the answer would be B. Okay, which is B. Okay, because it tells us that it is somehow located on the right-hand side, which is same as the direction of the wind. But if it is very similar, like it locates just near the host plant or the parent plant, then in this case, we will say that rather than they will have the pollinations, they will have the asexual reproduction. So this create a colonization that is look nearly the same as the original position as the parent plants. And if it is just spread around or it colonized or it is different from the wind direction, then it could be high chance of insect pollinations, which is the insect pollination. Okay. Of course, it could be both insect pollinations and also the wind pollination. Of course, that could be another possibility because some plants, they will not only undergo the animal or the insect pollination, they will also undergo the wind pollination at the same time to increase or to increase the rate of colonizations of their offspring. So this could be also, but for example, if it is in this case, the main, for example, if we see like plant P, then in this case, it would be a more preferred way would be insect pollination. More preferred way would be the insect pollination. Next, a new island was formed due to the volcanic activity. No species exist on the island. A seed was carried to the island by water current. Then the seed grew and also reproduced asexually. So what are the advantages of carrying out the asexual reproduction in this condition? So in this case, we can see that, okay, the offspring, they can produce quickly. So definitely it would be correct because we can see that they later on, they will use, okay, they will use the nutrients stored maybe inside the fruit or inside the seed, and this can cause them to grow very quickly in the beginning until, or which can help them to grow until a point that the leaf has been come out or it has been grown. Then in this case, they can easily continue to grow larger and larger. So in this case, the offspring, okay, they can produce very quickly, okay, sorry, they will grow very quickly, and at the same time, they apart from that, they will also easily to develop their offspring because you can see that, for example, maybe on one places, even though there is no any pollinations has been occur or there is only one individuals in that area due to they can asexually reproduce themselves, then in this case, they will produce a similar copy as themselves uh, by colonizing the area that's near the parent cell. So in this case, the offspring can produce very quickly, and just basically because the asexual reproduction part, in fact, it is the vegetative part of the plants. So next, okay, the offspring are more able to adapt to the environmental changes. So it may not be a possible reason because definitely it is more adaptive to the unfavorable condition, but sometimes the the environment, in fact, it may be it is not that good. Okay, so in this case, this may let maybe only carrying that gene or that ability. Then in this case, it could not adapt for such environmental changes. For example, like how can I say, maybe the grass, okay, maybe I use it as an example. This will be the grass. And for example, it like to have a more dried area, okay? It like to it would like to have a more dried area. Then in this case, they can easily reproduce themselves, okay? But in this case, okay, now the environmental changes, okay, there is keep flooding occur. Okay, flooding occur. Then in this case, okay, in fact, the grass no longer can grow quickly because maybe the humidity or the amount of water, in fact, is somehow more than uh, they would like to have. So it is what we call some unfavorable um, uh, situations or unfavorable environment. Then in this case, okay, they will be very difficult to survive in that area because they would like to have the more sunny habitat, or they would like to have a dry habitat rather than that humid habitat, because their gene only support, or I mean their genetic materials will only support them to stay, or it will have such maybe dry area or more favorable for them to grow in such dry area. So in this case, the offspring, okay, will not be able to adapt to the environment more. It may not be able to adapt to the environmental changes. And lastly, for the food reserve, in fact, they are available for the growth of the offspring because, in fact, it is also some vegetative part of the or the parent's plant. So in fact, there will be some food reserve is stored, and this can help them carrying out the asexual reproduction easily, and this would be one of the advantage for them to for the growth of the offspring. So therefore, the answer would be B, which is 1 and 3. Okay, then for the last MC questions, we can see that, okay, for the potato plant, it can reproduce both sexually and asexually. So which of the following correctly compares the difference between these two types of reproductions? So in fact, we can see that, okay, for the sexual reproduction, in fact, it would be an haploid cell. Then while for the asexual reproduction, in fact, it would be a diploid cell. So definitely it would not be correct because we are talking about the offspring produced. So no matter it is sexually reproduced or asexually reproduced, in fact, both of them would be the diploid cell. Okay, it would be diploid, okay, but not haploid. Okay, so next, okay, the levels of competition between the offspring, in fact, it should not be higher for the sexual reproduction, while it should be in reverse because it would be it colonized, okay? In fact, it is based on the colonizations, whether it is really packed or it is not that packed. So in this case, by looking at the sexual reproduction, in fact, they can be caused by several pollinations. For example, like the insect pollinations, or it can be like wind pollination, and in this case, it would be somehow it would be away from the competition between the parents plant and also the offspring. So then in this case, it would be a lot lower comparing to the asexual because it's too close to each other. Then next, the regions of colonizations of the offspring, it would be a lot larger, okay, for the sexual reproduction, because if you think like the bee, okay, so in fact, they can fly very far away. Then in this case, the region of colonization of these offspring or these species, in fact, it would be a lot larger comparing to the asexual reproductions. So, and on the other hand, for the genetic variation, so in fact, both the asexual reproduction, it should be having a less, okay? It should be having a less genetic variation among the offspring because it is made by the, or it is developed by the somatic cells. So therefore, the answer should be C. The answer should be C.